Hey guys, now that the Relic Castle Game Jam number 7 has started, I figured I would make a quick video with a few tips for those who are considering entering. I would definitely recommend you give it a try, even if you've never done a game jam before. They're a lot of fun, and all skill levels are welcome. I think they're a fantastic learning experience, and I really can't recommend it enough, so please consider entering. Now, on to the tips. Tip number 1, stay organized. I would definitely recommend you write down your ideas for your game in a document, such as Google Docs. Write down some general ideas for the game's story, or maybe even write down a series of plot events that you'd like the game to go through. You could even compile a list of inspiration images for the maps or landscapes, or even for character designs. We did that in Pokemon Bushido. In fact, we actually even wrote down what types of tile sets we'd like to use, or what songs we'd like to use, and where we'd like to use them. And if you're really into organization, you could also try making a Google Sheets, which is like an online Excel document. For Bushido, we had a list of all of the art that we wanted to add, and we tracked its progress to see if it was done or not. And it counted how many were done and how many were not done, and displayed a percentage of art, so you could say, hey, we're at 80% done with all of our art right now. I find that if you don't stay organized, it's very easy for ideas to just never get implemented, so try writing them down and turning them into a to-do list, and then work off of your to-do list. Tip number 2, limit your game's scope. Start with a small idea that you think is fun or interesting, and then refine that small idea, building upon it slowly, and then you can add on to it as you refine the idea more. Do not start by making like a massive world map and a huge story, because over-scoping will crush you. Instead, just focus on keeping your game simple and refined. There are so many great Game Jam games that I really love that are like an hour or two long. You don't have to try to make like a 20-hour long crazy story, and in fact, I would absolutely stress that you don't. Do not focus on your game's length. Instead, just focus on the fun. Tip number 3, playtest. There's always going to be bugs and issues to find in your game, so make sure that you find them first before you release it and other people are playing and they find it. I would recommend really focusing on playtesting during the last few days of the jam, if not sooner. When playtesting, I would also recommend that you wipe your save data and play the standard game with no debug and just play through as like a standard end user, because you will find so many bugs and it will help polish your game so much. Write down any issues you find as you're doing a playthrough, such as typos, or if there's an issue with an event, or if the game even crashes, and then turn that into a to-do list, and then from there you'll have a whole nice list of bugs to fix. Tip number 4, keep an eye on the time. This one might sound stress-inducing, but it is important to keep an eye on the deadline and gauge how much work you have left to do. I would recommend trying to get everything into your game a few days before the deadline to allow plenty of testing time, but hey, sometimes that just can't happen with time constraints and whatnot. Sometimes you also might need to cut some content to make the deadline, so don't be afraid to change your plans on the fly. Not everything that you want to make it in the game can make it into the game sometimes, but sometimes you just have to learn to let go, and that's fine. You should be able to adapt your plan based on your development pace, and sometimes you could even keep an eye on how fast you're developing and figure out an estimate of when your game will be done or how far you can go up to the deadline. For example, if it takes you a week to make a town, then maybe you could only have 4 towns in your game, so you could think of that as you plan moving forward. And now for the 5th and final tip, take care of yourself. I think this is the most important one. You need to get some rest and take breaks if you're ever feeling tired. Do not ever push yourself to work long nights or force yourself to get too tired and miss sleep or any other real life obligations. At the end of the day, we're just making Pokemon fan games for fun. And if you're not having fun, if you're not having a good time, that can bleed into your game and have a negative effect. When you're tired, you end up making more mistakes and you don't think as clearly. And that can actually lead to you working slower and less efficiently than if you just went to sleep and got a good night's rest and then worked on it the next day when you're refreshed. So yes, take care of yourself first and foremost. That is rule. I put it in as tip number 5, but that is the number 1 most important thing.
But wait, this video's not over. It's time for a bonus tip!
Try utilizing some of the amazing public resources that the very talented fan game community has already created, with proper crediting, of course. Always be sure to properly credit the resource creators. As you're probably aware, there are amazing tile sets, amazing scripts, amazing character art, amazing everything that has already been created on Relic Castle and try checking them out and try utilizing some of the really cool resources for your project, because that can help out a lot. For example, I suck at art, so downloading like eCats tile sets has helped a lot. I've compiled a list of some of my favorite resources to my website, but if there's anything I'm missing, please let me know and I'll plug that in there as well. And as a general tip, always be respectful and kind to everyone in the community. And if you're working on a team, be sure to keep up your team morale. Just being friendly can go so far. It's really important to just be nice to everybody, okay? Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. And if you are considering joining the Relic Castle Game Jam, I would highly recommend that you do. It's a great learning experience. I've met a lot of really cool people and worked on a lot of really cool projects, and I feel like that deadline of the Game Jam has helped motivate me to see some really cool ideas through to completion. So with that said, I hope this video has helped you, I hope you learned something, and I hope that until next time, that you all have a good one.